Okay, this is a long time coming. A lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of trial and error to get to the point to where now I can do pneumatic polishing. So if you haven't watched yesterday's video, we did a test spot and got figured out the process. So now I'm going to be transitioning, because I've been waiting so long to do this. I'll probably do most of the car with these tools, but we're going to be using air tools or pneumatic tools. And I've got several different versions of them here, and then I've got the mini pads and the 3-inch pads all set up to work through the edges and the smaller details of the car with the small tools, and then we can use the triple action polisher for the larger areas in combination with the RUPES LHR 15, which I use so often. We'll probably also do one section with the melee as well here later in this process. But here's the skinny on this, and I'll be talking a lot more about this in future videos that are dedicated specifically to pneumatics. But we need lots of air. So behind me, off to your right, my left, is the Jenny compressor. That's a 5 horsepower, 80-gallon tank. Ultimately, and when I build my ultimate facility, believe it or not, this isn't it. This is the stepping stone, I hope. I'm going to have massive receiver tanks where, and then the compressors will probably be in a room somewhere. I'll probably have it in a glass room where you can look in and see it. But we want to help with noise. You can hear the hum of the air dryer over there drying the air. But what we have is a stout compressor. I believe this does about 22 CFM delivered air, so we need lots of air, and because these tools running constant will draw quite a bit, somewhere between 11 and I believe 14 CFM constant. These suckers will draw, so the compressor is going to be running a decent amount. We do have an 80-gallon tank and lots of lines that we have some air in, but the thing's probably going to cycle on every couple of minutes when I'm using this tool. So you can't just buy this. This is I think it's a $180 tool. I'll have it up in the store probably this week. But this LHR 75, this 3-inch 15mm orbit random orbital pneumatic tool draws, I think it's 11.5 CFM. So you need a really stout compressor. And so somebody was making fun of me in the last video saying all that work to blow out pads. Yes and no. All the work is to be able to use these polishers. So the question most people would have is it worth all the effort, all the money and expense to do and have this this tool, or to be able to use these tools in the garage? The answer is probably not. The electric tools are amazing, a little easier to deal with. We don't have air lines to work on and worry about clean, dry air. But I think they're awesome, and I'm going to show you operation here today. So what we have is LHR 75. We have the baby, I believe it's the LD30. Is the tiny little 1-inch with a 1-inch pad or a 1-inch backing plate. And then we have this is the TA50. Now these are both, I believe, 3mm orbits. So these products are designed really for sanding. So we're going to play with them a little bit here. Having the 3mm orbit isn't quite as useful for polishing as a 12mm orbit like what we have on the Nano. So my suspicion is I'll be using the Nano a lot more often for edge work or intricate edge work versus these tools, but I wanted to have them just in case they were a viable option. So we'll play with these a little bit here today. Again, LHR 75. I don't have the LTA 75, which is the triple action. I don't think it's here in the US yet. I've got to get one of those, but this is a high RPM. I believe this does up to 11,000 RPM. This is the LHR 75 3-inch 15mm orbit machine, DA machine, dual action machine. And then we have the 5-inch, this is the LTA 125, which is a gear, there's a gear set in here, so they call this triple action. It's really the same movement as these others, and it's a dual action polisher, but it has a gear set in here that allows us to provide more torque, via the air inlet. This one also has a dual exhaust outlet versus a single on the other tools. So we'll be playing with these. I'll be talking about how we adjust the speed of the LD and the TA, and then comparing them electric to pneumatic. The other thing we need for these is we need pads. So I've got 3-inch pads set up here for the 3-inch machine. I'm going to be coming out with this here in a couple of days. I'll have it up in the store. I've had all the stuff. I was just waiting. I'm also, I don't have shown here, I have microfiber pads as well. They country microfiber because nobody else makes them in the 2-inch and 1-inch size. But we have wool, both heavy cut and medium. I have white 2-inch, yellow 2-inch, yellow 1-inch, white 1-inch. So for this application, this car, we just showed via a test spot that yellow pad with perfect finish is working really well. So we're going to go with that. And so I'm going to have in my 1-inch pads on my 1-inch tools. All right, 2-inch pad on the 2-inch tool. So this is one advantage outside of having multiple nanos, is if you have a bunch of tools, I can just pull and have all these tools setting over here on the table, and I can have them all set up ready to go, so I can just grab as needed. And then we got our 5-inch pad for our LTA, right? So we have these all set up. One thing that we're going to be testing out here today as well, which I've been super excited about, is my, or I guess not my, but Prevost's Fluid 360 swivel. So the swiveling coupler, it's a aluminum body, but a double release. So we have air in the lines, right? So when I air up and I press the button, it releases slowly, and then I pull out the device. Where a lot of these type of tools, a lot of these types will, every one of these couplers will shoot it across the room. You have to push in and hold. This, I don't have to do anything other than press the button and release. It's a really amazing mechanism. So we combine that with the swiveling capability. This should be a really amazing tool for our lightweight Stowflex hose, this high-end hose. Again, I'm not going to make this video exclusively about this stuff. I'll be talking about it as we're experiencing it. This has all been in my head. Now it's coming to reality. So we have to now decide whether this makes sense. But we've got swiveling here, swiveling here, swiveling here, so this should be completely fluid for when our using our devices. Then we have adjustment here. That's cool. I'm excited about this. So you'll hear the difference between a high-speed regular dual action, and then here's the LTA, which is the triple gear set triple action. Considerable sound difference. A lot of that also has to do with the exhaust type. All right, so let me get this set up here and let's start working. Okay, so I got a little cave set up here right behind me, just to show you. We've got my tools and table all set up. Over here, I've got my blowout garbage can ready to go with my air there. So I got all 4 air lines right here. So we're going to deal with learning how to manage this properly with all these power cords and air lines with the car in the way. So since we're starting with pneumatics, again, I've got some dust on here just sitting overnight, so I'm going to do a quick little eraser wipe. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to prop the door open so that we can get all these edges here. So I'll need to move the camera, obviously. But I'm going to do all the edge work of the door, probably work while I've got it open here, probably hit the lower, what do we call this, side thinger, come back around and do this area. So we're going to kind of manipulate the door and work this whole area with the pneumatics as I learn the process, what works and what doesn't work from getting it in different angles. But first thing we'll do, I've got these kamikaze door stops, so I can either use the big one The small one is really designed for the trunk or the hood. This might actually work pretty well here. So what we do is we clip it on there. Yeah, so now the door is held open. I like that better. You could use the big one. The big one also has different extensions here. So this one's pretty cool. But I think we'll use the small, the one designed for the trunk here, for this section of the door. Especially since I noticed hazing when I hit an adjacent panel. So whenever I can, I'm going to open this up. So what I'll do is we'll do this top section, do up here near the trim. I'll raise the car up a little bit, and then we'll do down here lower. I'll close the door and we'll work the other section. I'm also going to do this edge here. Then we'll come back with the bigger, finish the flatter, bigger sections. And again, we'll just break this up and take our time on it. And then again, I may open the door. Since we're over here, we may work on this side of the panel as well. A nice fresh pad. Not sure why I'm doing this one first. In fact, I shouldn't be. Oh well, we'll have it primed and ready to go for when we need it. I'll end up adding a little bit more. This is like a darn gear bonanza here with all this stuff. It's awesome. I'm really interested to see how my swiveling solution works here. Again, I'm going to work this edge and this edge. Before I do that, like I mentioned, because of all the boxing and packing we're doing here, it seems like I have a little bit more dust than what I have out in the humid wash bay. Let's just do a quick little wipe down here. Let's take a look at our edge here, so I can see the result change. Got my 3-inch. Make sure you guys can see here. I really got to fill up the little bottle. This one's heavy to manage. So let's prime it here on the edge. Got a little mess there. All right, pad's primed. Add a little bit more product. I'm gonna come up here and do this edge. That should really be all we need. So with this, with this polisher, we need to be careful that we don't get too aggressive. Here's a couple of deeper scratches there. It's amazing how easy this paint corrects, even with such a mild polish. I think that's a little better height for me. This section here, see it a little better. Now, you know, if I'm not videoing, this isn't going to take as long, but I'm messing with the camera and attempting to show you what's going on here. So put a couple of dots of product on there. Put this over my shoulder. So I want to be careful on this edge here that I don't get crazy aggressive. Wow, that looks so good. So obviously this thing can go faster than when I'm running it, but I'm setting this dial here on the top. I'm adjusting this to then set the max, you know, because this is a variable trigger. Unlike your electric polishers, at least the Mark II polishers, we have more speed capability, and we have a variable trigger on this versus the electrics are just on or off. I'll blow out the pad here in a second. I don't find it necessary to blow out the pad every time with foam, but that's up to you. Also notice this doesn't respond very well to pressure. Particular pneumatic. Be careful on this edge. Have a little deeper scratch right there. You know, I'm assuming that this paint is not going to be super thick, or we're going to have tons of depth. So these tiny little, like there's a little bit deeper scratch there. I don't think I really want to attack that on this car. You know, you're going to have a really hard time seeing it. So a lot of those deeper ones, I'm going to leave. Let's just do a little experiment here. Let's try a little bit of these wool pads. So here's a cutting wool. Let's try the same perfect finish. Let's prime it up here. Again, I don't want to beat the crap out of the spot, but we could go get the compound out as well, but just see if that made a difference. Nope. Let's try a little bit of Jess car. I wouldn't even be able to show you this little scratch on camera. And I don't know that I'm going to chase the whole car like this. But let's just see. Primer microfiber. just so I remember where the spot is. Right there. It's going to be a little bit too much. You have to be careful because with dual action, the smaller the pad, the more aggressive it is. It's the opposite with rotary. That didn't make sense to me until Jason Rose taught me that. So this will develop quite a bit of heat on this spot. So I don't want to hold it in one space too long, and I don't want to make too many passes. Boom, gone. Looks like we're going to be spot treating with 1-inch microfiber and some Jescar on any of these little scratched areas that maybe need a little bit more attention. So you guys that were joking, saying there's no chance I'm going to be one-stepping this, to some extent they're right. I'll always blow these out. Be careful on this edge here too, I don't want to burn through it. Couple of quick passes. Boom. Shoot. I got all my fancy scan grip lights, but they're not as necessary because I have lights overhead. I can use those as well. I'm mainly doing that for camera. If I were doing this by myself, like when I turn the camera off, I'll end up turning the scan grip lights on around the car, so I'll be able to see better. Okay, so now those two spots, I need to go back. We'll spot treat. So what I may do, some of these that I know aren't going to come out with a perfect finish, I may do some quick spot corrections. Those will come out with perfect finish with the nano and the microfiber prior. And I've never really been this discerning before, you know, about hitting little spots. But because I have the lift and the lights and all the gear, it just makes it so much more enjoyable, easier to do. We'll see when I'm 15 hours into this, but for now, this seems like this is very enjoyable. Let me blow out this pad. Go to finishing this section. Gosh, I'm telling you, there's just something about the user experience of this that's incredible. You know, you need a giant air compressor and lots of extras to make this work. I think I can get up in there. Yep, just barely. me get the little smaller pad up in there. Yeah, I think this will get me up in there a little better. I don't want to use that Phoenix light, man. Shows way too much. I think it's hard to get the polish residue off the paint. I think that's good. So now let's go back. I'm going to raise the car up and now we'll do the lower section here. What happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to